The first wave of attacks from the Velcron armada was overwhelming. Energy beams and missiles filled space like a storm. The Indomitable's shields flared bright, absorbing what they could. The converted merchant ships behind it took direct hits. 3 exploded immediately. Return fire. Taman shouted. All ships execute the plan. The human fleet scattered in every direction. It looked like chaos, like panic. The Velcrans moved forward confidently, their formation tight and organized. This was what they expected, humans running like frightened animals. Then Aegis activated the ancient precursor graviton mines. Hidden in the debris field around the Terminus cluster, the mines had been sleeping for millions of years. Now they woke up. Spatial distortions rippled through the Velcran formation. Ships suddenly found gravity pulling them in wrong directions. Cruisers collided with destroyers. Formation broke apart. Now, Jiwon shouted into her comm. All fighters attack! 300 human fighters dove into the confusion. They targeted engines and weapons ports just like in the last battle. But this time, they knew many would not return. Pilots said quick prayers and pushed their ships to maximum speed. Nari Song unleashed her cyber attack. She had spent 20 hours programming a virus specifically designed for Velcran communication systems. It spread through their fleet network like wildfire. Command ships could not talk to their escorts. Weapons coordination fell apart. Orders became garbled. Their communications are down 30%, Nari reported. No, wait. 40%. They are panicking. But there were still 400 ships, and the Velcrans were learning. They adapted to the mines. They switched to backup communication systems. They began targeting the Indomitable directly with massed fire. Shields at 60%, Yunji called out. We cannot take much more of this. Uniquan's converted merchants charged forward. They were slow. They were clumsy. But they were fearless. Her ships rammed Velcran cruisers at full speed, sacrificing themselves to take out larger vessels. It was brutal. It was desperate. It worked. This is Merchant Captain Lee, a voice crackled over the comm. We are going into their dreadnought. It has been an honor. The transmission cut off as his ship collided with a Velcran capital ship. Both exploded in a ball of fire. Sunwoo led his fighter squadron on a suicide run against a Velcran carrier. The carriers launched their own fighters, trying to intercept. Sunwoo's squadron broke through, losing half their numbers. They fired everything they had at the carrier's launch bays. For humanity, Sunwoo shouted. His fighter slammed into the bay doors, setting off a chain reaction inside. The carrier began venting atmosphere and fighters. It went dark, drifting. Sunwoo! Yoonji screamed, watching her brother's fighter disappear in the explosion. The battle became a nightmare. Ships burned on both sides. Space was filled with debris and bodies. The Indomitable fought like a cornered animal, its weapons never stopping. Seokjin fired graviton torpedoes until the launchers overheated. Then he fired them anyway, but the Velcrans had numbers. For every ship humanity destroyed, 2 more took its place. The Indomitable's shields dropped to 30%. Then 20. Warning lights filled the bridge. We are losing, Doyen said quietly, staring at the tactical display. We hurt them badly. But we are losing. Taman knew it was true. They had destroyed or disabled over 200 Velcran ships. It was a military miracle. But it was not enough. In another hour, maybe less, the Indomitable would be destroyed. The Terminus cluster would fall. And humanity's defiance would end. Then Dr. Haiwan Lee ran onto the bridge. Her face was wild with excitement and fear. I found something in the precursor database, a weapon, the Genesis Array. It is in a hidden vault 3 light years from here. We cannot run, Taman said. The moment we jump, they will destroy the station and everyone here. No, Haiwan said. Listen to me. According to the records, the Genesis Array can rewrite spacetime itself. It was built by an ancient species called the Makers. They used it to seal away an extra-dimensional threat. If we can activate it, we can create a defensive barrier that nothing can penetrate. How do we activate it? Doyen asked. Haiwan hesitated. It requires a human consciousness. Someone has to merge with the system. Permanently. Silence fell on the bridge. Everyone understood what that meant. A sacrifice. A death sentence. But a chance to save everyone else. Doyen stood up slowly. I will do it. Father, no, Haiyan said, her voice breaking. I am old, Doyen said gently. I have lived to see humanity stand tall again. That is more than most of my generation got. Take me to this vault. There is no time to argue, Taman said, making the decision. Aegis plotted jumped to the coordinates. Commander Choi, Doctors Kim and Lee, you are with me. We take a shuttle. I am coming too, Heian said. If my father is doing this, I will be there. The Indomitable launched a shuttle while its weapons continued firing. The small craft jumped away, leaving the battle behind. Jiwon and the remaining defenders held the line, knowing what was happening, knowing they just had to survive a little longer. The shuttle emerged near an ancient structure floating in deep space. The Vault of Kalos. It was a massive sphere covered in symbols that hurt to look at. They docked and entered in pressure suits. Inside the vault was beyond comprehension. Technology that seemed alive. Crystalline structures that sang with power. And at the center, a sphere of pure light. The Genesis Array, Aegis, Doyen said calmly. Interface with the system. Tell me what to do. The AI's voice was quiet. Commander Choi, if you do this, your consciousness will be absorbed into the array. You will become part of it. There is no return. No afterlife. Just merging with the machine. I understand, Doyen said. He looked at his daughter. Hyun, tell everyone I was proud. Tell them humanity earned its place among the stars. Father, Hyun sobbed, hugging him. I love you. I love you too. Now let me go. They need me. Doyen walked to the sphere. He placed his hands on it. The light grew brighter. His body began to dissolve, becoming energy, becoming something else. His last words echoed through the vault. For Earth. For humanity. For freedom. The Genesis Array activated. Back at the Terminus cluster, space itself suddenly changed. A barrier of pure energy erupted around the station and all the human ships. The Velcran weapons hit the barrier and simply stopped. The energy was absorbed, redirected, made harmless. What is this? Legate Vren screamed. What have they done? The barrier expanded. It reached toward Earth 3 light-years away. It surrounded humanity's homeworld in an unbreakable shield. The Velcrans fired their planet-killer weapon, but it could not penetrate. Nothing could, and then something else happened. The Genesis Array sent a pulse across the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, ancient precursor technology that had been dormant for millions of years suddenly activated. The Coalition's monopoly on advanced technology ended in an instant. At Coalition headquarters, Admiral HFY stared at the readings in disbelief. Precursor sites are activating everywhere. On our worlds, on their worlds, on neutral worlds. The technology is available to everyone now. The balance of power is gone. Legate Vren knew he had lost. He had the firepower to continue the battle. But what was the point? The humans were protected. The galaxy had changed. The Coalition's control was broken. Recall the fleet, Vren said bitterly. We are done here. The surviving Velcran ships jumped away. The battle was over. Humanity had won, but the victory felt hollow to those who knew the cost. On the Indomitable's bridge, Taemin addressed the galaxy one final time. Today, we lost many good people. Commander Doyen Choi gave his life to protect us all, but because of his sacrifice and the sacrifice of so many others, humanity is free. The precursor technology is now available to all species. No one controls it. No one hoards it. This is a new galaxy, one where freedom is possible, where all species can stand as equals. 5 years later, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The Coalition had reformed into the Free Species Alliance. Humanity had dozens of colony worlds. The Indomitable served as the flagship of a fleet dedicated to protecting the weak and preventing tyranny. Admiral Taemin Kang stood on the observation deck, looking at Earth shining in the distance. Jiwon now trained pilots from 100 species. Yuna served as defense minister. Nari ran the largest free information network in existence. Yoonji designed the new generation of human warships, each one carrying the name of someone who died in the Battle of Terminus Cluster. The Doyen Choi Memorial Hospital orbited Mars, the finest medical facility in 3 sectors. Han ran it, honoring her father's memory every day. Your people surprised us all, said a voice. Taemin turned to see an alien ambassador, one of the Archons, a species that had refused to join the Coalition long ago. We were underestimated, Taemin said simply. You were feared, the Archon corrected. The Coalition knew what humans could become if given freedom. That is why they suppressed you. But suppression only works until someone defies it. You defied, and the galaxy changed. Taemin smiled. Defiance was not inevitable because of who we are. It was inevitable because of who we refused to stop being. Outside, a fleet of human exploration vessels jumped past the Indomitable, heading for uncharted space. Earth shone bright and free. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through submission, through defiance, and that made all the difference. The Indomitable emerged from the void-skip jump near the frontier reaches. It was neutral space where dozens of species conducted trade beyond coalition control. Ships from 100 worlds moved through this sector, buying and selling goods that the coalition regulated elsewhere. When the massive human carrier appeared, everything stopped. Cargo ships fled. Trade stations went silent. Sensors across the sector locked onto the unknown warship. At coalition headquarters, chaos erupted. Admiral HFY of the Thessian Concordat studied the sensor data with growing horror. The Thessians were the second most powerful species in the coalition, known for their analytical minds. This ship is using pre-treaty human technology, Kellic said slowly. Technology developed before we forced Earth to accept our protection. This changes everything we thought we knew about human capabilities. Legate Vren slammed his fist on the command table. It changes nothing. They have one ship. We have thousands. Send a fleet. Destroy it. Make an example. A patrol fleet was already in the area. War Captain Threx commanded 12 Velcron cruisers on anti-piracy duty. When he received orders to intercept the human ship, he laughed. One human vessel against 12 Velcron warships? This will be over quickly. Threx's fleet moved to intercept in the Orion Belt, a region of asteroids and debris. The Indomitable did not run. It held position, waiting. Unknown human vessel, Threx transmitted. This is War Captain Threx of the Velcron Imperial Fleet. You are in violation of the Treaty of Subjugation. Power down your weapons and surrender your command crew immediately. Taman sat in the command chair, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. Behind him, his crew worked with focused intensity. Jiwan's pilots were ready in their fighters. Seokjin's weapons were armed. Hunji's reactors were at maximum output. Nari had hacked into coalition communication networks and was broadcasting everything. War Captain Threx, Taman replied. This is Captain Taman Kang of the human carrier Indomitable. We are not seeking conflict. We are simply refusing to be caged any longer. Leave us in peace. Unacceptable, Threx growled. You have 10 seconds to comply. Aegis, Taman said quietly. Battle stations. Shields to maximum. You humans always were foolish, Threx said. He cut the transmission and opened fire. 12 Velcron cruisers unleashed their weapons. Plasma beams and missile volleys crossed the space between the fleets. It was enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. The quantum phase shields on the Indomitable flared to life. They did not block the attacks like normal shields. They absorbed the energy and converted it to power. The plasma beams hit and simply disappeared into the shield matrix. The missiles detonated harmlessly. Shields holding at 98%, Yunji reported, her voice showing surprise. Minimal power drain. Threx stared at his displays in disbelief. Impossible. Nothing can absorb that much firepower. Launch fighters, Taman ordered. The Indomitable's launch bays opened. 300 human strike fighters poured out like angry insects. Jiwan led the first squadron, her voice calm on the combat channel. All wings, this is Wing Commander Han. Execute attack pattern Delta 7. Show them how humans fight. The coalition had never seen human combat tactics. For 150 years, humanity had been forbidden from military operations. The aliens had forgotten what humans could do. Jiwan's fighters moved in three-dimensional formations that made no sense to Velcron sensors. They dove through asteroid fields at speeds that should have killed the pilots. They used the debris as cover and weapons, accelerating rocks into enemy ships with precision strikes. Seokjin, target their command ship, Taman ordered. Fire graviton torpedoes. The weapons ports on the Indomitable glowed blue. 4 torpedoes launched, moving faster than normal missiles. They did not hit the Velcron shields. They passed through them like the shields were not even there. The torpedoes struck Threx's flagship directly on the hull. They did not explode. Instead, they created gravitational implosions inside the ship. Hull sections collapsed inward. Decks compressed. The flagship shuddered and began venting atmosphere. What is happening? Threx shouted. Why did the shields not stop them? Graviton weapons, HFY explained from Coalition headquarters, watching the battle through hacked feeds. They bypass conventional shields by manipulating spacetime itself. We banned this technology 200 years ago. How do the humans have it? Because we built it ourselves, Nari Song whispered, listening to the intercepted transmissions. Before you took everything from us, the battle became desperate. Velcran ships tried to close range, but human fighters swarmed them. Jiwan's pilots targeted engine sections and weapon ports with surgical precision. Aegis coordinated point defense, intercepting 94% of incoming missiles with automated laser grids. 8 minutes into the battle, 3 Velcran cruisers were disabled. Another 2 were destroyed. The rest were damaged and falling back. "Retreat," one of Threx's captains shouted. "We cannot win this." But Threx's pride would not allow surrender. He had never lost a battle. He would not start now. He ordered all remaining ships to concentrate fire on the Indomitable's bridge. "He is going to suicide charge us," Aegis warned. "His ship is accelerating to ramming speed." "Jiwan, clear the path," Taemin ordered. All fighters pull back. "Captain, we can stop him," Jiwan argued. "No more deaths than necessary," Taemin said. "Pull back." "That is an order." The fighters retreated. Threx's damaged flagship accelerated toward the Indomitable, weapons firing continuously. The shields held, but Taemin knew a collision at this speed would damage both ships severely. "Fire everything at his engines," Taemin commanded. "Stop him, do not destroy him." Seokjin targeted carefully. Graviton torpedoes and energy beams struck the flagship's engine section. Explosions rippled across the stern. The ship lost power and began to tumble, unable to control its trajectory. "He is going to hit that asteroid," Aegis reported. "Tractor beams," Taemin ordered.
"Catch him." "Captain, he tried to kill us," Doyen protested. "I know."
"But we are not them. We do not kill unnecessarily." The Indomitable's tractor beams locked onto Threx's ship and slowed its tumble. The flagship settled into a stable orbit around a large asteroid, powerless but intact. "Velcran ships, this is Captain Kang," Taemin transmitted. "Take your wounded and leave. We offer quarter. This fight is over." The remaining Velcran cruisers hesitated, then slowly they moved to recover escape pods and damaged ships. Within an hour they jumped away, humiliated but alive. The battle was over. 18 minutes of combat, half of Threx's fleet destroyed or disabled. The Indomitable had suffered only minor damage to its outer armor. Across the galaxy, billions watched the battle footage. Nari had broadcast everything on open channels. Coalition species saw humans fight for the first time in 150 years. They saw obsolete human technology defeat modern Velcran warships. They saw humans offer mercy to enemies who had shown none. On Earth, people gathered in streets and watched the broadcasts on public screens. Some cheered. Some cried. Some simply stood in stunned silence. For the first time in generations, humanity had won a military victory. Governor Minho Bai watched from his office. Tears ran down his face. He sent a message to every human colony world. "The Indomitable has shown us what we can be. Now we must decide. Do we stay slaves, or do we fight?" Across human space, the answer came quickly. People began organizing. Ships were hijacked. Weapons were stolen. Coalition garrisons found themselves surrounded by angry crowds. It was not coordinated. It was not planned. It was pure defiance spreading like wildfire. On the Indomitable, Taemin addressed his crew. "We won today, but this is just the beginning. The Coalition will send more ships, bigger fleets. We need allies. We need a place to gather those who want freedom." "Aegis, set course for the Terminus cluster." "Acknowledged, Captain. However, I must warn you. Legate Vren has requested authorization to deploy the full Velcran armada, 400 warships. They are coming to destroy us." Taemin nodded slowly. "Then we better prepare, because humanity is not backing down. Not now, not ever." Abuse of the Battle of Orion Belt spread across the galaxy within hours. On Earth, the reaction was immediate and explosive. People poured into the streets. Protests turned into uprisings. Human colonies that had been quiet for generations suddenly came alive with resistance. In the Mars colonies, workers seized control of 3 mining stations. On Europa, colonists locked Coalition overseers in their own offices. On Titan, someone hijacked 6 cargo haulers and flew them toward the Terminus cluster. It was chaos. It was beautiful. It was long overdue. Governor Minho Bai finally stopped pretending. He went on public broadcast and spoke the words he had wanted to say for decades. "For 150 years, humanity has lived under Coalition rule. We accepted this because we were told it was for our protection. But protection became oppression. Guidance became control. And peace became slavery. Today, the crew of the Indomitable reminded us of something we had forgotten. We are human. and humans do not kneel. The coalition responded with predictable fury. Velcran forces moved to suppress the uprisings. But something unexpected happened. Other species began questioning the system. If humans had been suppressed this much, what about everyone else? Minor coalition species started demanding answers. The Indomitable reached the Terminus cluster 3 days after the battle. It was an abandoned precursor station, ancient and massive. The structure had been built by a dead civilization millions of years ago. Now it floated empty in neutral space. "This will be our home," Taman announced.
Our fortress.
"Our symbol. Any human who wants freedom can come here. Any species tired of coalition tyranny is welcome." The work began immediately. Yunji's engineering team started repairing sections of the ancient station. Dr. Hyewon Lee studied the precursor technology with fascination. Aegis interfaced with the station's computer cores and found them still functional. Ships arrived daily. Human refugees fleeing coalition crackdowns, merchants bringing supplies, and more fighters. People who wanted to join the cause. Captain Yuna Kwan arrived on the 5th day. She commanded 12 human merchant vessels that she had converted into warships. They were crude conversions with weapons mounted on cargo hulls, but they were functional. "I heard humanity was finally waking up," Yuna said when she met Taman. She was 36 with short hair and fierce eyes. "I brought everything I had." Daehyun Lim came next. He was a young engineer who had worked in secret for years, studying the old plans for the Void Skip drive. He brought blueprints and theories. "We can build more," Daehyun said excitedly. "Not full carriers, but smaller ships with the same drive technology. We can spread it across human space. They cannot stop us if we can jump anywhere." But not everyone who arrived was human. The coalition's actions had angered other species too. Corvan traders, tired of heavy taxes, brought their merchant fleet. Silith refugees fleeing persecution asked for shelter. Even a few Thessian ships appeared, their crews disgusted with their government's support of Velcran aggression. The Terminus cluster became more than a military base. It became a movement, a statement, a promise that freedom was still possible. Then Haeun Choi arrived. She was Doyun's daughter, a medic who had been working on Earth. She brought medical supplies and terrible news. "Father," she said, hugging Doyun tightly, "the Velcrans are coming. Not a patrol fleet. The full armada, 400 warships. They are going to destroy this place and everyone in it." The news hit the crew like a physical blow. 400 ships against one carrier and a collection of converted merchants. The odds were impossible. Legate Vren sent a transmission that reached the entire galaxy. His 4 eyes burned with fury as he spoke. "The human vessel Indomitable and all who support it are declared enemies of the coalition. You are given one chance. Surrender Captain Taman Kang and his senior officers for public execution. Do this and the rest will be pardoned. Refuse and we will destroy the Terminus cluster and everyone there. You have 24 hours. The crew gathered in the carrier's main conference room. The mood was grim. "Nobody spoke at first. We cannot win this," Yuna finally said. 400 warships. Even with all our tricks, we cannot win. "Then we evacuate," suggested one of the merchant captains. "Run, hide, fight another day." "No," Taman stood up. "If we run now, we prove the coalition right. We prove that humanity cannot stand. That we are weak. That we deserve to be controlled. Better to live weak than die proud," someone argued. Doyun shook his head. "You are young. You do not remember what we were before the treaty. We built ships that made the galaxy tremble. We developed technology that scared them so much they forced us to destroy it. We were not always slaves, and I refused to die as one." "Then what do we do?" Jiwon asked. "We cannot fight 400 ships head-on." Aegis spoke up. "I have been analyzing coalition battle tactics. They rely on overwhelming force and standard formations. They have not fought an adaptive enemy in centuries. We can use that." "How?" Taman asked. "We do not fight ship to ship. We fight smart. We use the terrain. We use misdirection. We use fear." Dr. Junho Kim stood up suddenly. "The station, the precursor station, it has defensive systems, old systems. If we can activate them, we can multiply our firepower." Hyewon nodded excitedly. "The technology is ancient but functional. With Aegis's help, we might be able to bring weapons online that have been dormant for millions of years." Over the next 20 hours, they prepared. It was desperate preparation, knowing they would likely fail, but refusing to surrender. Narisong hacked together a plan to disrupt coalition communications. Seokjin armed every ship, no matter how small, with whatever weapons they could mount. Jiwon trained every pilot in suicide tactics, though nobody said those words out loud. Daehyun and Junho worked with Aegis to activate the station's ancient graviton mines. Yoonji found her brother Sunwoo in the fighter bay. He was strapping into a cockpit. "You said this was suicide," Yoonji said quietly. "It is," Sunwoo replied. "But I am still my sister's brother. Still human. If we are going to die, I want to die knowing I fought for something." When the Velcrown Armada arrived, it was terrifying. 400 warships dropped out of jump space in a massive formation. Dreadnoughts, carriers, cruisers, destroyers. Enough firepower to vaporize planets. Legate Vren's face appeared on every screen. "This is your final warning. Surrender or be destroyed." Taemin stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. His crew was ready. His ships were positioned. His heart was pounding. He opened a channel that broadcast to the entire galaxy. "You offer us mercy at the cost of our leaders? You offer us life as slaves? We reject your terms. Humanity will not kneel. Not today, not ever. Legate Vren, if you want this ship, come and take it." The entire galaxy held its breath. Then Vren gave the order. "All ships, open fire. Destroy them all." 400 warships launched their weapons. The space around the Terminus cluster lit up like a supernova. The battle for humanity's future had begun. And in the command chair of the Indomitable, Captain Taemin Kang smiled grimly. They would probably die today, but they would die free, and sometimes that was enough. The energy spike near Neptune caused concern at Coalition headquarters. Legate Vren, a high-ranking Velcran officer, studied the data with his 4 eyes narrowed. The Velcrans ruled most of the Coalition military. They did not like surprises. "Send investigation cruisers to the Neptune sector," Vren ordered. "Find the source of this energy signature." On Earth, Governor Minho Bai received the same report. He was the leader of the Terran Administrative Council, the human government that answered to the Coalition. Officially, he was loyal to the aliens. Privately, he hated them, but he had learned to hide his feelings well. He sent an encrypted message to the Neptune station. Just 3 words. "They are coming." Taemin received the warning on the 5th day of restoration work. He gathered his team immediately. "We have maybe 48 hours before Coalition ships arrive," he said. "We cannot hide the Indomitable. It is too big. And we cannot run. The ship is not ready." "How ready is it?" Doyen asked Yoonji. The engineer checked her displays. "The reactor is at 60%. Shields are online but untested. Weapons need calibration. The void skip drive needs at least another week. We are not ready for combat." "Then we need help," Doyen said. "And I know where to find it." Doyen had maintained contact with other former military officers. They were scattered across human colonies, living quiet lives, forbidden from discussing the old days. But they remembered. They all remembered. He sent out coded messages through secure channels. "The Indomitable lives. Rally Point Neptune. Bring ships. Bring skills. Bring defiance." The response shocked everyone. Within 30 hours, ships started arriving. Not warships, because humans were not allowed to have those, but cargo haulers, mining vessels, passenger transports. Every ship brought people with military training and hearts full of anger. Wing Commander Ji-won Han arrived first. She was 32 years old and officially worked as a civilian flight instructor. Unofficially, she trained pilots in combat maneuvers that the Coalition had forbidden. She brought 23 fighter craft that looked like racing ships but had hidden weapons. "I always knew someone would wake the beast," Ji-won said when she met Taemin. "I am glad it was us." Master Chief Seokjin Yoon came next. He had spent 20 years in Coalition labor prisons for speaking against alien rule. They had broken his body but not his spirit. He knew weapon systems better than anyone alive. "Let me see the torpedo bays," Seokjin growled. His hands shook with excitement as he examined the graviton weapons. "Beautiful. These can punch through any shield in the Coalition fleet." Lieutenant Nari Song was only 27, but had a gift for computer systems. She could hack alien networks like they were children's toys. When she saw Aegis, she laughed with delight. "An AI that does not report to the Coalition? I can work with this." Dr. Junho Kim brought the most valuable gift. He was a quantum physicist who had worked on the original Void Skip Drive project before the treaty shut it down. He knew the theory. He could make it work. "Give me 4 days," Junho said, studying the drive systems. 4 days and I can have this ship jumping anywhere in the galaxy." The crew grew to over 300 people. They worked around the clock. Yunji performed miracles with the fusion reactors. Aegis learned their working styles and began helping with system integration. The old carrier came alive section by section. Not everyone was happy. Sunwoo Park, Yunji's younger brother, continued to voice doubts. "This is madness," he said during a crew meeting. "We cannot fight the entire coalition. They have thousands of ships, tens of thousands. We have one old carrier and some converted civilian craft. We are going to get everyone killed. Then leave," Doyen said coldly. "Nobody is forcing you to stay." "Someone has to be the voice of reason," Sunwoo shot back. "Someone has to say what we are all thinking." "This is suicide," Taemin stood up. He was tired. His hands hurt from working, but his voice was strong. "You want reason? Here is reason. The coalition has kept humanity in chains for 150 years. They control where we go, what we build, how we live. They killed my brother for protesting unfair taxes. They imprisoned Seokjin for speaking his mind. They have slowly erased everything that made us human." He looked around at the assembled crew. "We are not starting a war. The war started when we signed the Treaty of Subjugation. We are just finally deciding to fight back. Yes, we might die, but we will die free. We will die proving that humanity still has teeth." The crew erupted in cheers. Even Sunwoo looked uncertain now, caught between fear and pride. On the 6th week, the Indomitable reached 87% operational status. The hangar bays held 300 strike fighters. The weapon grids glowed with ready power. The shields were tested and proven. The void skip drive was ready. Then the coalition arrived. 3 Velcran investigation cruisers dropped out of jump space at the edge of the Neptune sector. They immediately detected the massive energy signatures from the hidden station. "Unidentified human vessels." The lead cruiser transmitted, "You are ordered to power down and prepare for inspection." "This is not a request." Taemin sat in the command chair of the Indomitable. The bridge was fully staffed now. Ionji at engineering, Nari at communications, Seokjin at weapons, Ji-won commanding the fighter wings. Aegis integrating all systems. "This is Captain Taemin Kang of the Earth salvage vessel Horizon's Edge," Taemin responded calmly. "We are conducting authorized recovery operations. Our sensors indicate military-grade power signatures," the Velcron captain replied. "Explain immediately or face destruction." Governor Minho Bai sent another message from Earth. "I can delay them no longer. You have to go, now." Taemin looked at his crew. They were ready, scared but ready. He thought about all the years of humiliation, all the compromises, all the dignity slowly stripped away. "No more Aegis," Taemin said. "Release docking clamps. Power all systems to full. Plot a course out of the solar system." "Destination, Captain?" Aegis asked. "The frontier reaches. Neutral space. Where we can show the galaxy what we are." The Indomitable's engines ignited. 3 kilometers of human warship began to move. The old station shook as the carrier pulled free. The Velcran cruisers detected the movement immediately. "Unknown vessel, halt immediately or we will open fire." "Aegis," Taemin said calmly. "Activate void skip drive. Drive active." Jump in 10 seconds, the Indomitable accelerated. Space around it began to shimmer and tear. The Velcrans had never seen this before. They hesitated, uncertain. 5 seconds, Aegis counted down. The Velcran cruisers fired. Energy beams crossed space toward the carrier. 2 seconds. The shields flared bright as the attacks hit. The Indomitable shuddered but held. Jump. Reality tore open. The carrier did not use a jump gate like coalition ships. It simply ripped a hole in space itself and vanished. The Velcran beams hit nothing but empty vacuum. For a moment, there was stunned silence across the coalition communication networks. Then every alarm in the galaxy began to scream. An unknown human warship had just demonstrated technology that should not exist. And it was free. It was armed. And it was angry. The defiance had begun. The salvage ship drifted through the darkness near Neptune. Captain Taemin Kang stood on the bridge, staring at the old military station floating ahead. It looked dead. No lights, no power. Just a frozen piece of human history that nobody wanted to remember. "Are we really doing this?" asked Yoonji Park from her station. She was the ship's engineer and she looked tired. "Stripping our own military base for scrap metal?" Taemin did not answer right away. He hated this job too. But this was what humanity had become. 150 years ago, Earth joined the Galactic Coalition. The aliens promised peace and protection. What they gave was control. Humans could not build warships anymore, could not develop weapons, could not even travel freely without permission from alien overseers. We do what we must, Taman finally said. The coalition pays well for this scrap. Our families need to eat. The salvage crew consisted of only 12 people. Taman, Yunji, and 10 others who needed the money badly enough to spend months in the outer solar system, cutting apart humanity's past. Among them was Doyun Choi, an old military commander who had served before the Treaty of Subjugation. He said nothing these days, just worked with his jaw clenched tight. Their ship docked with the station. The airlocks opened with a hiss of equalizing pressure. The team floated inside wearing heavy suits. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness. Everything was covered in ice and dust. Main reactor is 3 levels down, Yunji said, checking her scanner. That is where the valuable materials are. They moved through empty corridors. This station had been abandoned in a hurry. Taman saw personal items still floating in some rooms. Pictures of families, books, a child's toy. These people had lived here once. Now it was a tomb. Dr. Hwan Lee, their scientist, stopped at a door marked with old military symbols. This is strange, she said. My scanner shows a massive energy signature behind this door, but the station has no power. That makes no sense, Yunji said, floating closer. Let me see. Doyen pushed forward. His old eyes went wide when he saw the symbols. This is a hangar bay door. A big one. I remember these markings from my service days. A hangar? For what? Taman asked. Something they did not want the coalition to find, Doyen said quietly. It took them 2 hours to force the massive door open. When it finally moved, the space beyond took their breath away. The hangar was enormous, and floating in the center, held by docking clamps, was a ship, not just any ship. A warship, a carrier. 3 kilometers of human engineering and firepower that should not exist. Its hull was dark gray, covered with armor plating that looked advanced even by current standards. Weapon ports lined its sides. Fighter launch bays dotted its flanks. It was beautiful and terrifying. Dear God, Yunji whispered. Is that what I think it is? Doyen's voice shook. The KSS Indomitable, the last supercarrier. We thought it was destroyed before the treaty. Taman could not speak. He had read about these ships in history files. Before humanity surrendered to the coalition, they had built carriers like this. Ships that could challenge alien fleets. Ships that made the galaxy nervous. That was exactly why the treaty forced humanity to destroy them all. They hid it. Hwan said softly. Someone hid it here, hoping we would find it someday. We need to report this, Taman said, but his heart was not in the words. The coalition will want to know immediately. Report it? Doyen turned on him, anger flashing in his old eyes. So they can destroy the last piece of human military strength? So they can erase any chance we have of standing on our own? We signed a treaty, Taman said weakly. We signed a surrender, Doyen shot back. There is a difference. Yunji was already floating toward the carrier, her scanner active. I am reading residual power in the core systems. The reactor is in standby mode. This ship is not dead. It is sleeping. Over the next 3 days, the team explored the Indomitable. They found weapon systems more advanced than anything the coalition allowed humans to possess. Quantum phase shields that could absorb energy attacks. Graviton torpedoes that bypassed normal shields. And most impressive, a void skip drive that did not need coalition jump gates. This ship could go anywhere in the galaxy without alien permission. Yuan discovered the AI core on the 4th day. It was a sophisticated computer brain designed to run the entire ship. When she powered it up cautiously, a voice filled their helmets. Defense Protocol Omega active, the AI said calmly. I am Aegis, awaiting command authorization. It still works, Yunji breathed. After 150 years, the AI still works. That night, the team gathered in the station's old command center. They had restored minimal power. Now they faced a choice that would change everything. We have to decide, Taman said. We can report this to the coalition and watch them destroy it. Or we can hide it longer and pretend we found nothing, or... He trailed off. Or we can keep it, Doyen finished. We can restore this ship and show the galaxy that humanity is not finished. That is crazy, said one of the salvage workers, a young man named Sunwoo. The coalition will destroy us. Earth will be punished. We cannot fight the entire galaxy. Can we? Hwan asked quietly. If we had this ship fully operational, could we fight? Yunji pulled up the technical specifications on a screen. In theory, yes. The Indomitable was designed to fight multiple alien battleships at once. Our ancestors were preparing for war when the Coalition forced the treaty. This ship has technology the aliens have never seen in combat. But it is just one ship, Sunwoo insisted. One ship against thousands. One ship is a start, Doyen said. One ship is a symbol. Do you know how many former military people live in the solar system? How many veterans who remember when Earth had pride? How many young people tired of living under alien rules? One ship could be the spark that lights a fire. Taman looked around at his team. He saw fear in their eyes. But he also saw something else. Hope, anger, a hunger for dignity that had been suppressed for too long. He thought about his brother, killed during a Coalition peacekeeping operation on Mars. The aliens called it justice. Humans called it murder. But nobody could protest. Nobody could fight back. That was the price of peace. If we do this, Taman said slowly, there is no going back. The Coalition will call it rebellion. They will hunt us. They might kill us all. They are killing us slowly anyway, Doyen replied. Killing our spirit, our identity, our future. At least this way we die standing up. The vote was not unanimous. 3 of the 12 wanted to report the ship, but 9 voted to hide it and begin restoration. Taman made it official. Aegis, he said to the AI, begin full system diagnostic. We are bringing you back to life. Acknowledged, Captain, Aegis responded. It is good to serve humanity again. Far away in the inner solar system, automated Velcran surveillance drones detected an unusual energy spike near Neptune. The readings were analyzed and forwarded to Coalition Command. An investigation was ordered. The clock was ticking, and humanity's defiance had just begun.